Michael McKee is accused of shooting Spencer and Monique Tepe inside their Wineland Park home on December 30th. 10 TV's Lacey Crisp has been following this case since day one. She joins us live now from downtown Columbus.
Well, I actually just got a copy of the indictment in my hands within the last 10 or 15 minutes from the Franklin County Court of Common Pleas. And what really stands out to me by reading this indictment is there is a specification for a firearm charge that includes a silencer.
So last Sunday, I get a text message from an old coworker that linked this article about a Michael David McKee, and my heart dropped because that's one of my ex-boyfriends.
So the grand jury in Ohio has made their decision. And if you don't know what a grand jury is, I'm going to explain it for you so you can, so you can understand what they do. And not only that, Michael McKee had an ex-girlfriend that he dated right after Monique, and she spoke out. She's actually speaking out. Stay tuned. Welcome, this is Fugitive TV, and I'm your host, Ray Marcel, where we take a look at these cases. We take a look at cases that have either been unsolved, missing people, and what I try and do is I try and look at them from a different perspective that other people might not be looking at, because I was once a fugitive on the run from the law myself. I did it for 15 years. Now, it's nothing I'm proud of, but I turned myself in. My life has been going great since then. I'm running a few companies, and now I'm talking to you guys, trying to motivate the next person that, hey, if I can do it, anybody can do it. Now I'm looking at these cases, and sometimes I can see certain things that maybe other people can't see because I have been on the other side of the law at one point in my life for a few years. All right. So what we're going to do is talk about Michael McKee. I've done a few videos on this already, not on this very topic, but Michael McKee, if you don't know, is the person who's accused of unaliving Monique Spencer and her husband Tepe. Monique Tepe and Spencer Tepe. Spencer Tepe was the dentist. Okay, so just in case you don't know, because I know there's some people out there that's probably never heard of this. Believe it or not, there is. Now, this case has got national attention. Now, we all know Michael McKee got arrested in Rockford, Illinois. They followed him leaving his job, going to a Chick-fil-A, and they arrested him at a Chick-fil-A. The news is finally coming out saying it. I said it a few videos ago, but they're finally coming out saying it now.
Now we know that Michael McKee was arrested last Saturday in Rockford, Illinois. He was arrested at a Chick-fil-A by the ATF. Why Rockford? Well, that's where he works. He lived in Chicago, and we do know there was a search warrant that happened at his condo in Chicago.
So I took you guys on a journey of probably what his mind was like, and probably how he broke into the house, all kind of things. Well, today we finally got official paperwork from the grand jury, okay? And it shows what his charges are exactly. Now, I'm going to be honest. He did get hit with aggravated M, which we knew that was going to happen. Aggravated M, aggravated schmurder, red rum, unaliving. YouTube doesn't like the M word, especially when you're a newer channel, so I have to watch what I say. Until then, until you guys like and subscribe more and I get more subscribers and my channel blows up a little more, that I can take the filter off. But until then, this is what I have to do. Well, the grand jury did hit him with 4 counts of aggravated M. Now, I will be honest, for any of you guys that are watching this video that practice law or that's a paralegal or anything, please comment below, why do you think they hit him with 4 counts? Not 2, because, he unalived Spencer and Monique, but they hit him with 4 counts. So I want to know, what do you guys think, why they hit him with 4 counts? Now, they also hit him with burglary, okay? Because Ohio law is a little different. And we're going to get into Ohio's law of burglary, all right? Then they also hit him with a firearm and then a silencer. Now, this paperwork is not officially saying he used the silencer, but we can all put 2 and 2 together, okay? We know there was more than one shot, and supposedly nobody heard the shots. That could explain why the kids probably didn't wake up at that time as well. So they actually hit him with using a silencer. Now, I'm also broke down and I'm going to show you the law of the silent, like the law, okay? Because every state has different laws. Now, I'm willing to bet that he either purchased these weapons in either Nevada, because he used to live there. So remember, he's also getting sued from an inmate in Nevada, okay, for it's a malpractice lawsuit. Now, I don't know if you guys know about Nevada. Nevada has very relaxed gun laws. I live in Florida, same thing here. I can go to the store right now and get something. Very relaxed gun laws, okay? In Ohio, the same thing, very relaxed. In Illinois, no. Especially Illinois, silencers, last I checked, are banned in Illinois. So I'm willing to bet he bought those in either Nevada or Ohio. And if he bought them in Ohio, especially the silencer, I would like to know, when did he buy the silencer? When did he even buy the weapon? Because you don't buy a silencer unless you're hunting. This man was a doctor. Nobody's came out with any information about he's been out in the wilderness in the jungle hunting boars and lions and things. Nobody's ever came out and said anything like that. Okay? I never saw one picture of him standing over a deer. So this means he probably bought the silencer for what reason? Do any of you guys own a silencer? If you do, let me know why you own the silencer. If you own it illegally, don't worry. Don't comment. I don't want to get you in trouble. But still, why would he buy a silencer? I want to know when he bought the silencer. That plays a key factor. And if I'm thinking this, I know for a fact detectives and investigators are thinking and trying to put together the same thing. For example, they already think that he was going down to Ohio and stalking them, okay? They think he was there already before. I think he was too. Their address and everything spiked online back in November and October. So I think he was too. He already proved that he can drive round trip there and one night and back. 14 hours there and one night and back. He already proved he can do that. So who's to say he didn't do it a few more other times or more than that, right? So I want to know. And if he went and, let's say, purchased the silencer one of those times when he was coming back and forth from Ohio in the last few months, you know, was he planning that then? I'm buying this silencer now because I'm going to do this later on. Makes you wonder, huh? How long was this man actually planning to do this if that was the case? And what made him do it that night? What made him do it that night? All this right here goes out the window for insanity. It goes out the window. All this planning, this shows he was in the right state of mind, and it shows that he knew what he was doing. All right? Insanity, I don't want to hear no lawyer talk about he's going to go for insanity. If I was a prosecutor, I'd bury him under if he tried for that defense myself. And I haven't even studied law like that. I just been in the other side of the law. So that's how I learned. But that just shows something, right? So he's got the silencer charge. So we all know now how exactly or why nobody heard nothing. Use the silencer. And in one of my other videos, I think I even mentioned that he probably used a silencer. And the reason why I mentioned that because it was Ohio. And Ohio, like I said, the gun laws are laxed. All right. So here is some of his official charges, okay? From the grand jury that was put down by the grand jury. All right. So we have the aggravated M charge, which carries the death penalty. Then we have automatic firearm with a silencer, displayed or brandished firearm. Then, of course, you have another aggravated M charge. Then you have another automatic firearm silencer, displayed or brandished firearm. Then you have aggravated burglary. Then you have automatic firearm silencer, displayed or brandished firearm again. And you got two more aggravated M charges. All this has been brought down on the grand jury. And then also you have the codes for each one. So the aggravated M charge is code 2903.01. The aggravated burglary is 29101.11. All right. All right. So here's one of the pages. I can't show you all the pages because there's too much information on it and they will take everything down. So, but here's one of the pages I can show you. Okay. So it shows you Michael McKee. Now it says the first count. All right. Which is the aggravated M charge. All right. And then it tells you pretty much in a bunch of legal jargon that the grand jury finds enough evidence, to charge this man with aggravated M. Then it gets into specification 1 to count 1, firearm pacification, 3 years. The grand juries further specify that Michael McKee had a firearm on or about his person or under his control. So basically, it's saying that while he committed the aggravated M, he had the firearm on him, so because of that, that's why he's getting the firearm charge. Then specification 2 to count 1 is going to be for the silencer or suppressor. And once again, that's pretty much saying that the grand juries find enough evidence to charge Michael McKee, with this charge because he had a suppressor, a muffler on the weapon that he used, to commit the aggravated M. All right, so I'm going to break down a little bit of what the grand jury does. I know there's some of you people or some people that don't know exactly what a grand jury is. A grand jury is different than a regular trial jury. Now, we all know a trial jury listens to the argument, then they decide if you're guilty or innocent. A grand jury doesn't decide if you're guilty or innocent. What a grand jury would do is they're going to listen to the evidence from prosecutors. The prosecutors are going to present evidence against you. Then the grand jury will decide if that's enough evidence to indict you for those crimes or, charge you for those crimes. So that's pretty much what a grand jury does. Now, what sucks about a grand jury is there could be a grand jury against you and you won't even know. It's not like regular court where you get a court date and you show up. It's not like that. This is something that's behind closed doors that's going on about you and you don't even realize it. Now, not all states do this. Some states don't even have the grand jury. Some states, if the prosecutor wants to file a charge, you're filing a charge on you. In Ohio, though, it says in Ohio, grand juries are used to review all felony cases to determine if there's enough evidence, probable cause for formal charges, and indictment to be filed, acting as a check before a person goes to trial. We're proceeding secret and involving 9 county residents who vote on whether to issue the indictment, a process required by the Ohio Constitution. So yes, these are just regular residents. And the residents could be 9, I believe. I believe it's 9 to 16 in Ohio. So it could be just regular citizens. And they're just voting to see if there's enough evidence against you to charge you with the crime. So that's what a grand jury is, and that's what they do in Ohio. Like I said, every state's different. They have it here in Florida, but Florida, they only use the grand jury when there's capital crimes. That's it. Now, the one thing I didn't expect was Michael McKee's ex-girlfriend has came out and spoke. Michael McKee has an ex-girlfriend. She's on TikTok and she came out with a little story time video of her own. Supposedly, she was with him right after he got divorced. Check this out.
So crazy story time. So last Sunday, I get a text message from an old coworker that linked this article about a Michael David McKee, and my heart dropped because that's one of my ex-boyfriends, which is pretty insane. I was floored. So just wanted to hop on and talk a little bit about the whole situation. So I dated him around the end of 2017 through a good chunk of 2018, I think. So what I remember of him is he was just like a nice guy. Like he was quiet, introverted, which there's nothing wrong with that. He was a general surgery resident at the time where I was doing my residency as well. And he was really nice. Like there was no issues with him. He was always kind and respectful with me. I've been over his house. It's pretty crazy that you never know someone. But long story short, he did tell me a little bit about his divorce at the time. So, and again, I want to preface this with this is his side of the story and what he spoke to me. This is not truth. This is obviously very biased. But what he told me was that one day he came home from residency and that Monique had vanished. Like she took everything. She left the house completely empty and also took their dog. He was just left very stunned because he didn't see this coming, and he was like completely devastated. So again, this is his side of the story, his thing. Not even sure if it's truth, but I do remember him saying that to me. He also, another thing that I remember is that he didn't really talk about his parents. He did tell me he was adopted by an older couple, and he just like, they were good parents, but he just never talked about them. He never talked to them. I would call my mom like every day. We have a great relationship, but he was just much more reserved. He never really, when I asked him more, he just didn't really want to talk about it. So I kind of left it at that. This is him. This is us celebrating New Year's with a bunch of my friends and family. And this is me right here. And that's him, which is crazy. He also has been to my family home. That's him right there. This is me and my family members. But it's honestly shocking, and I'm grateful that the Lord protected me from moving forward in that relationship. The reason why it ended was I honestly wasn't feeling it. I don't mean to be disrespectful, but he was just kind of boring. And he was very much like kind of surface level. There was no, like, I couldn't go deep with him. And yeah, that's why I couldn't form like a deep connection with him because of that. Like, I think he had a wall up where he just like could not go deep with like any conversations really. So that's why it ended. And I moved up north and the long distance thing didn't work out either. I'm praying for Monique and the Tepe family and their children. But I don't know, I'm shocked. Also, guy aged like a banana, so don't judge me.
I know she is probably happy that she got out of that situation. Oh man, she said he was boring. It was surface level. That's all it was, a surface for him. All it was, surface. I'm just wondering. I remember I took you guys back. It was a few videos ago, and I talked about his mental mind state, about how he was adopted, and how he probably had abandonment issues from the start as a child. And some people actually commented on my video. Some of you guys commented on that video. And a couple of you commented saying that you were adopted and that you guys also had some sort of abandonment issues too, you know? So I'm wondering if he, had the same thing. And because sometimes, all right, sometimes you can have some sort of an issue from your past, your childhood, and you might not even know you have it. You might not even realize it. Okay. So you can have like these abandonment issue, and you might not even realize you have an abandonment issue. If you get what I'm saying. For example, give you a quick example. Okay. Um, I'm not a religious person, nothing like that. And I don't knock anybody's religion. Believe in what you believe in as long as it makes you a better person. That's what I believe in. But I'm curious about everybody's religion. If you're a certain religion, I want to know about it and I want to know why you believe in it. That's how I am. Okay. So when I first moved out here to Florida, I was visiting Clearwater, Florida. Okay. Clearwater, Florida is the headquarters of Scientology. It's the headquarters of it. John Travolta's got a house there. Who is it? Tom Cruise has a house there because I don't know if they're still part of it, but once they were like the kings of Scientology. I don't know if they still are. I was curious because I was walking by one of the buildings. So let me walk in here. I just want to see what this is about. That is how I think. That's me. Before I assume, I want to learn. Okay. So you walk in and they give you this test. They give you this test. The test is very interesting. It really is. This test, you answer these questions and everything else, and then it tells you about your life. And it tells you about how you grew up. And it tells you about maybe some issues you might have with yourself that you don't even realize, right? And then it tells you about these senses that you have as that you can get from a child, okay? That could affect you when you're later on as an adult and you don't know why it's affecting you. Certain smells, certain sounds, maybe some deja vu. So for example, let's say back when you was 5 or 6 years old, okay? And this is just an example. And you and your mom, or not you and your mom, sorry, your father and your mom had a bad relationship. It was abusive. And let's say your mom was making something. She's cooking bacon. Maybe she's cooking bacon in the kitchen. Okay. Your mom and dad get into that argument in the kitchen while she's cooking bacon. Your dad abuses your mom right there in the kitchen while she's cooking bacon. Okay? Maybe later on they divorce, whatever it is. Maybe you don't even see your dad no more. Maybe you do. It doesn't matter or whatever, right? But let's say you grow up. Now you're an adult. And for some reason, you don't like the smell of bacon. Anything that smells like bacon to you, you don't like. But you don't realize, you don't know why you don't like, you don't know why you don't like the smell of bacon. You really don't know. Because at that time when you were 5 or 6 years old, and maybe you saw your dad abuse your mom, that overpowered your sight, your vision, right? Your vision overpowered her making some bacon on the stove because what you just saw as a child was very dramatic. Your dad just struck your mom and whatever he did. So you're like, wow, you're in fear. Well, later on down the line, when you're an adult, you still remember this because you have senses. You have the sense of smell, sight, hear, and touch. But us as humans, okay, we will retain sight a lot of times because it's what we see. Every single one of us watching this video, what are we relying on? We are relying on sight, okay? But we have these other senses. That's why it's, when you get a stuffy nose, it's easy for you to walk around with a stuffy nose when you're sick, right? I got a stuffy nose, I just breathe out my mouth. If your ear is clogged because you got an ear infection or whatever, I just plug it up, whatever it is. But let you wake up and you blind, you're gonna trip out. You are gonna trip out. You can't see. That is probably, I want to say, and I'm not a psychologist or nothing, but if I'm just using common sense, I would say our sense of sight is probably our most important to us. It's how we retain a lot of information, is sight. But you can feel on things. I can feel on this book right here that's in front of me. I can feel that it's texture, and I'm going to remember the texture of that book. Well, the smell of that bacon strikes something in your memory, and it strikes fear. It strikes panic, and you don't even realize. So I'm wondering if he had the same issue because of his childhood and didn't realize it. It's just something I noticed. Something I noticed about people when I did my time and I went to a prison, then I went to a prison boot camp and graduated and things of that. But before I went to the prison boot camp and I was in this regular prison waiting to go to the prison boot camp, you're in there with these hard knock people, these people who unalive multiple people. You're in here with the worst of the worst, okay? And the one thing when you talk to a lot of these people, they all got some sort of trauma from their life. Almost every single one of them has some sort of trauma from their life that never got fixed, handled, or talked about, or nothing. And that is the one thing I realized from a lot of these people that I was locked up with. Because, like I said, I'm the type of person I want to learn before I judge. I want to find out the info before I say anything. And that's who I am. And that's always who I'm going to be. But once I would talk to these people, because I mean, you ain't got no choice but to talk to them. Who else you going to talk to? So once you talk to these people and you get personal, and I'm being a sponge and I'm observing, like, dang, this guy had some issues, some really deep issues. There's no excuse for what you did, not so ever. Don't get me wrong. No excuse for what you did. But I can sort of put myself into your mind frame and see why that switch got flipped and you didn't know how to flip the switch back off. I can see now. But I just want to make that clear because I brought it up in my one video before. So it just makes me wonder listening to her story with him. Okay. Please like and subscribe this channel. Please. You've been helping me grow so much. I have a membership I just started. Very affordable. I'm going to be doing membership lives, okay? And also, if you have a membership doing a regular live and you make comments, I'm going to see it right away. Not only that, you're going to get a discount code for my book when it comes out, Rare Redemption, because I'm going to be sending out autograph books when it's done. You're also going to get a discount code for merchandise, for Fugitive TV merchandise, okay? Which I'm also going to have merchandise for the Rare Redemption, okay? Plan on doing a lot with this channel, and you guys are just here from the beginning. But watch when it gets bigger than what it is now, okay? I'm going to remember all of you guys. So please like, subscribe, and if you're returning, thank you so much. You've been helping my channel grow up. I should grow up, blow up so much. Fugitive TV, I'm out.